There are a lot of funny stories out there about me. Things that people close to me say would only happen to me. My friends even use my name as an adjective. That is such an Avery story. My family loves traveling. We share a bucket list of new destinations that are waiting to be explored, and we probably spend more time talking about those places that we choose. When we travel, it's like a mashup of the movies Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. We have been described as the Griswold family, one who attempts to enjoy vacation but are hit with continual disasters. Every year, my mom and I go on a mother-daughter trip during a break when my dad has to stay home with my brother for hockey. There was one time in the baggage line when my mom couldn't find her ID. We are not light packers, and we always come back with more than what we left with. The airport in Maui screens your bags before they are checked and puts them through security to make sure you are not leaving the island with any of its precious shells. We zoomed through the line much quicker than we had planned. So when we arrived at the desk, my mom and I had no time to get our IDs, tickets, and our bags together and organized. We got to the counter and heard the teller say, "ID, please." Confidently, my mom grabs her wallet, and of course, it's not there. My mom starts to panic, and I quickly realize that she just doesn't have her ID, and I think to myself, yes, this means I don't have to leave my favorite place on earth. Thoughts of lying on the beach for a few more days filled my head. The vision was shattered when I heard my mom yell, "Avery, Hannah!" and I snapped back to reality and started looking through our overweight bags. Now, I can be lazy when it comes to looking for something lost. I am not the type to turn things over. I just sort of give it a glance. And I definitely was not motivated to find the ID if it meant we'd have to leave Hawaii. So I did my version of searching and told my mom, no, I didn't see it. My mom started to panic and started freaking out because we were already late to our flight. So we retraced our steps, asking anyone and everyone if they had seen an ID. After spending more than an hour looking, we decided to go through the bags again. And of course, laying at the bottom of a carry-on bag filled with Christmas ornaments and board shorts is my mom's smiling face looking back up at us. But as you can imagine, I received the complete opposite face in that moment, followed quickly by the "we will never speak of this to your father or brother" speech. After all, she was pretty embarrassed too. I broke that promise very quickly after our return. The story was just too funny to not share. In 7th grade, I decided to take a leap of faith and sign up for the school trip to Spain and France with my friends. It was the first time I truly traveled alone without my family, and it was to 2 countries I had never been to. Everything went smoothly and as planned until the night when I got lost on the Eiffel Tower. No, I didn't get lost walking to the Eiffel Tower. I got lost on the Eiffel Tower. Our group was given instructions on the time we would meet up and leave, which went in one ear and out the other. After my friends and I took some horrendous selfies, my friend Emma and I wanted to look for a gift shop. We looked around and decided to go back to the group because we thought it was time to meet up. But it turned out there was no group to go back to. We didn't see them anywhere, so I tried to stay calm, cool, and collected as my friend started to cry. Luckily for me, my mom had always told me that if you get lost, ask a police officer for help. So I approached the nearest security officer and explained our situation. And the response I got was in a language I did not know at all, French. So I began to panic too, because this woman was going to be no help. We left and walked around for 10 minutes, convinced we would have to spend the rest of our days in Paris. Luckily, we saw the group just as they were getting off the elevator. They had forgotten about us and were leaving. I guess I don't blame them. It never crossed anyone's mind that someone might lose their bearings on a confined little platform. But my friends and I were 30 seconds away from spending the night on top of the Eiffel Tower. When I began writing the speech, it was just focused on travel in these moments. In fact, the first version I gave to Mr. McVeigh was only embarrassing stories about traveling. People would have laughed, but I'm not sure they would learn anything new about me. The more I thought about it, most of the moments I remember about school or birthday or just another summer day also involved something that went wrong. My friends here know that for every funny travel story, there are 5 funny stories about something I've done wrong around here. For example, for the past couple of weeks, I've been writing this speech on a ridiculous laptop. I have to attach a keyboard and a mouse to my Mac laptop. Why, you may ask? Because with my luck, the trackpads and keys don't work. So the only reasonable solution the tech department had was to give me another keyboard. You think I'm lying? This is it. Working with this extra keyboard has drawn a lot of attention, especially in class. Everyone does a double take and asks why. And before I answer, they claim, "That would only happen to you," or "That's just such an Avery thing." That's always the reaction to these stories. They will say it with a laugh, and they mean it in the best way. But I've started to wonder about that a little. Why is it that people have that impression of me? After all, I do some things really well too. I help everyone I can, I try my best in school and sports, and I try to be a really good friend. There's a lot more to me than just these embarrassing stories. But it's not really people's fault for thinking that. I think they have that impression of me because that's the one I intentionally give them. I laugh at myself a lot. It's a great way to deflect criticism and to shift attention away from me as a person. But there is a lot more to me than what people see when I'm goofing off or something unlucky is happening to me. This year has been eye-opening in many ways. I have a lot going on in my life right now, and that isn't easy. I've been faced with roadblocks and detours, and there are times it makes me sad, lonely, and hurt. And feeling alone is very scary. Sometimes I feel lost in my thoughts, lost as a person. It can feel like I'm caught in between myself, not wanting to be at home and not really wanting to be here at school. These things going on aren't things I'm comfortable talking about with our whole community yet. I've only just started to get comfortable talking about it with my closest friends. I'm not ready to share it with all of you at this point. So I'm not going to get into detail about it here and now, but it's there and it's real. I have accepted that I'm not perfect and that these imperfections might make people laugh, but there is a depth to me that very few people have taken the time to ask about. That the outside and the inside of me don't necessarily match. These past couple years, I've been struggling with this notion. Sometimes it's hard to socialize and smile and pretend like everything going on in my life is perfect, like the person I'm trying to portray. Now, it's not like every time I look happy, I'm just pretending. That would be a lie. I definitely am someone who has great moments and enjoys life, but there are days when it's hard to pretend, and this year has proven to be the most difficult. And after doing this my whole life, being strong and trying to cover things up, it feels like it's maybe all catching up to me now. I have a tendency to help and fix other people's problems. Maybe it's because I don't want to fix my own, or maybe it's because I don't think I can fix them. So I just try to be there for others instead. As my friends know, I'm always willing to drop everything and be there and just listen. For a while, this was possible, but this year, instead of being the listener, I have needed someone to listen to me. And opening up to those who care about me has helped me seek the love and help I have needed for so long. Living at Brooks, I've come to realize and find who my true friends, role models, and mentors are. My second family, my home away from home. Without their recent support, I could have never stood up and given this speech. I can't even put into words how much I appreciate them. I guess what I'm saying is that everyone is dealing with a lot. Respect it. Don't take others for granted. Don't assume the person who is smiling all the time is always that happy inside. High school is hard. Being a teenager can be even harder. We're all going through a lot, so take some time to learn people's stories. There is so much power in stories if we dig deep enough. The best thing you can do is to be kind, to give space, and to be there for others. If you're happy, enjoy it and laugh about it with your friends. If you're struggling, find someone you can share that with too. And if you want to be a great friend, don't be afraid to ask what's behind the smile. This year has been a year of self-discovery for me. This speech is not about feeling bad for myself or wanting anyone to feel bad for me. I actually think it's a really good thing. I'm finally getting in touch with my real emotions and sharing them, not just smiling and pretending that everything is great. I think that's part of growing up and becoming a more real version of myself. Learning to trust people is hard, and every once in a while you might get burned by it. But it is so much better to share your story than to keep it all inside. Look around. There are so many people here for you. I know I'm going to be okay, and I'm going to keep being there for my friends to make sure they're okay too. You've all done that for me tonight. Laugh with the funny stories, listen to what's real inside, and we'll all keep moving forward together. Thank you.